Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cripescast. I'm your host, Charlie Behrens. This is the podcast where we talk to people for and or from the Midwest. We are brought to you and powered by Everlight Solar. And here is today's episode. Hey, guys. How's it going? What is cooking? Welcome to the Cripescast. I'm Charlie Behrens. You probably know that, but if you didn't, now you do. Joined in studio for this Cripescast intro by Colleen Maraca.
I'm Colleen Maraca. You probably didn't know that, and it really doesn't matter.
All right. Well, way to set yourself up, Colleen.
Except
I like
for my
that.
dad. Hey, Dad. He watches everyone.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Hey, today we got a special episode. I think every episode is special in its own way.
Yeah.
And the way this one is special is we're talking to Kim and Penn Holderness.
AKA the Holderness fam.
Yep. They do social media videos. Penn has been a guest before. We have not had the dual Kim and Penn episode yet. But Penn, for those of you who may not know, he was with me in the Husbands of Target video. And they do amazing like song parodies and just great content. You got to follow them at the Holderness family. Check them out. So a few reasons we brought Kim and Penn on. They are coming out with a book on ADHD. It's coming out in a couple months. So
Pre-orders next month.
Pre-orders next month. So you get a little bit of a preview of that. Also, they are celebrating 10 years of being creators in this crazy social media business that we do. So I thought it would be fun to chit chat about that. And we also talked about all just the stuff that's been going on with them since the last I talked with Penn. They won the Amazing Race. Their kids are growing up, you know, and so yeah, it's a fun little interview.
You guys also did Pickle Ball, Midwest Pickle Ball.
Yes, Midwest Pickle Ball. We did a Bloody Mary video with them. We went
Neighbors
over
in Quarantine. You guys have done quite a bit.
We have,
yeah,
absolutely, and so it was fun to catch up with them.
Yeah,
and but before we dive in there, Colleen. Here we are, 2024. How many of your resolutions have you given up on?
None, I don't think.
Yeah. Do you remember all your resolutions? Yep. Okay. So that sounds about right.
No, I think I'm keeping up with them.
Okay. That's good.
How about you?
You know, it's just a framework. It's a guideline.
Yeah.
Some goalposts, you know.
How are you doing?
I haven't quite started. I've been on... I think on the road, a little too disjointed to sort of settle into the new year yet.
Resolutions? Did we ever go over this?
My resolutions, I wrote down way too many of them. I got to boil them down. But the simplest one is this, and perhaps this should just be my only resolution, will make more sense when you hear it, is do less better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like jack of all trades, master of none. Like you want to be master of a few things and like do it better to a full capacity rather than like spread yourself too thin.
That's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just trying to like the things that I do, really do them well. And then just, you know, say no to some other things. So
prioritize the things that you want to just like really focus on.
Yeah. Involves a lot of saying no, you know, and as a people pleaser, oh my gosh.
You don't do that ever.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
What? I don't say no ever?
You really don't say no.
Yeah. What things am I saying yes to that you don't think I should be saying yes to?
Is this a podcast discussion?
All right. It sounds like a workplace meeting.
No. I just feel like you say yes to a lot of things because you work very hard. And so I think like that then there's just like a lot of things in between the tour that it just can be a lot. You do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing at all. And I think that's like admirable for a lot of people when they like look up to you. But I also think that can be pretty draining. That's
a little taxing.
Probably why you ended up with your resolution that you did.
That is.
You know?
So, you know what? There's a reason for it all.
And not that any of them are bad. It's just like doing them all simultaneously. It's like, when are you going to have time for you?
I know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Good question. Glad someone's asking it. How about this winter weather that we're having?
It's so nice out. I went skiing this weekend and it was like actual snow. It wasn't like the fake like stuff.
Yeah, no, it is real snow.
It is real snow.
How is ski? I mean, it's pretty cold to be out there skiing, isn't it?
We went right before it was like, we went on Saturday, so it wasn't too bad. And then the next day was when it was like 5 degrees. So we we hit it at like 25, which was kind of perfect. It wasn't too bad.
25 is ideal skiing temperature. I didn't realize that it just got bitterly cold here. In North Dakota, it was bitterly cold the entire time.
No, yeah.
Like Sunday. Negative 27 degrees, I think.
Oh, no. Sunday was the first day that it was like in the single digits, and then yesterday was negative. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, it was fun.
Was that your first time skiing?
Right? No. I skied last year. It's just this year. Like, it's my first time skiing this year. I don't do it regularly. So it's like I had to do a couple warm-ups. I did fall on like the rope. The rope thing sucks.
Are you talking about the magic carpet rope?
Is that what it is? There's one where it's like you're actually on a carpet and it's like a tarp and it's moving you.
Yeah.
And then there's one where you're it's just snow and you're on the snow and it's pulling you.
Yeah, I think that's also on the Bunny Hill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for you. You know your place.
I was going up. It was my first time going up. I also had like the poles that they gave me didn't have the loops on them, so I had to hold them in one hand.
Yep.
I had my friend's gloves that were like kind of slippery, so I was like trying to hold on to the rope, but then that was hard. So then I was like holding on to it, and then I was like trying to focus on staying on my skis, and then I was trying to get off because once you're at the top, the rope goes lower to the ground.
Yeah, you gotta let that go.
And so then I wasn't letting. So then I was like going all the way down, and then I like ended in the splits on the top of the thing, and all these kids that were taking like ski lessons at Sunburst that were like 5, 6, 7 years old were like,
come on, bro.
Come on, lady. Like, move around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, but it was really fun. It was a really good time.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that rope that's such an analogy for life. You can't hang on to something forever. Otherwise, you do the splits and get yelled at by 5-year-olds. Yeah.
In your life, what is the 5-year-olds?
Anyway, that was a pregnant pause for me to look at Colleen. But I'm not saying you're 5. I'm not saying you're 5. I'm saying it's an analogy for people telling you you're doing it wrong. So
can we rewind the tape and just talk about how I said it was admirable what you do and how hard you work? And I was saying very nice things about you.
And you're also saying, let go of the rope earlier, bro, which I appreciate.
I didn't say that. I was talking about a ski trip that I had. I didn't say anything that it was like, you made it about you, man.
Vanity has a way, and here you are being the 5-year-old telling me to let go of the rope. It's not about me. So there you have it. I win.
Anyway, but yeah, so I did skiing this weekend. What'd you do? How was North Dakota? How were the shows?
North Dakota was great. Thank you everyone for coming out. We did Bismarck, we did Fargo, we did Grand Forks, and Miles hung out with him, shot some videos with him. Those are coming out over the next few weeks, so you guys can look out for that. Miles, you betcha guy. And now I'm back, and
you're going to Munhall this weekend.
Going to Munhall, Pennsylvania.
Then you're going to do a little Illinois streak there the next weekend, and then the weekend after that, we're going to Minnesota. I'm coming to those.
All right, yeah, Duluth and Mankato
and
Brainerd. It is all happening, ladies and gentlemen. You can get them tickets. Cripescast.com. Click on the tour section. We also got merch up there if you're interested. And well, I think it's about that time, Colleen.
Welp, I suppose.
Let's get to the episode. Here's my conversation with Kim and Penn Holderness. Thank you so much for coming on. I do appreciate it. It's really nice that you've had me on your podcast, the both of you. And Penn, I've had you on this podcast before. Because Kim, I guess I just didn't know you that well back then. But I think over the years, we've all just become really good friends. We've had some dinners together, some loaded Bloody Marys together.
Some cheese curds together.
We played Pickle Ball.
Yeah. Once we play Pickle, might as well get an apartment together after the Pickleball.
I know. I mean, just come on in,
Let's combine finances. Let's make it weird.
I mean, Pickleball really is becoming like the new church. Like people used to meet other people at church. I feel like they're meeting, at least in our town, a lot of people are meeting other people on the pickleball court.
Oh, like they're getting, eventual friskness going.
Oh, we weren't even talking
Not
sexually.
At all. That's fine. It's interesting that you went there.
Did you meet a lot of your girlfriends at church, Charlie?
No, I was yes-anding Penn, so
you
all
sort
right.
of got a little weird for Charlie, is what I'm hearing.
No, I've never, but you said meet people. I suppose you're right. I suppose you're right.
As an elder millennial, maybe that's where
that's where elder millennials are meeting their others. God, I love that. I just am walking onto this, and I already feel like it's an away game for me right now.
I'm
Kim,
sorry. It's your show. It's your show.
No,
it's your show.
Kim, you are just walking all over me. I enjoy it, actually. I think it's good. So people are meeting each other via pickleball these days, though.
Yes. So we have a single friend, and the question was like, it's kind of hard to meet new people. And it's like the second or third thing that we say in the list of places where you could go to meet people. Right?
Just to make friends, just to be they're new to town to meet friends.
However, there are people who get dates there. Like you're in, at least in our town, they're younger people who are doing this. They're in good shape. They bring like beers out to the public park to play. And then they end up spending time like away from the court.
Well, it's an easy in because you have plausible deniability. It's like, let's just go get some fresh air, some exercise, low stakes. Low stakes. Yeah, the more multifaceted the event is, like if you can also get exercise, if you can also get fresh air, if it's also something to do, it just lowers the pressure on the conversation that you have to have. And it gives you something to talk about right there.
Yeah, I think it would be problematic for us, though, if that was a date.
Me and you?
Because
we're too competitive.
We're too competitive.
Yeah.
And I would just get really
pissed
upset if like we were on a team and just started dating. And if he made really stupid shots, or if he hogged what normally like he'll hog my shots, he'll poach my shots, then I'd get really mad and probably wouldn't do a second date.
So when we did that sketch, that was coming from a real place.
It wasn't difficult to act. I'm
a horrible person, Charlie.
No, we were both. I don't know if you noticed, but I was also acting that way as well. Yes, Charlie and Anne-Marie and Kim and I, for those who don't know, I'm just going to take over this podcast. For those of you who didn't know, the four of us did a video in Charlie's hometown of Milwaukee. And it was Kim and I, everyone thinks that we were playing a California couple just because of how high. We were presenting very. Presenting very like Californian.
Yeah.
We're not from California, but we were certainly acting like perfectionists who we were trying to be like Todd and Margot on a pickleball court, right?
Yeah. Anyway, Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. And, I was thinking I got to get you guys on, first of all, the both of you. And one of the big reasons was you just celebrated 10 years of doing this whole social media video game. Gal. I mean, what, like, first of all, I saw the video and where your daughter was saying that, and first of all, she has grown up so quick. Come on now.
I know.
Oh, don't they grow up so quick? I tell you.
They grow, you just blink. Yeah.
How old is she now?
She turns 17 next month. So she's 16 and my son just turned 14.
14.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that she said is that I think was a real tear-jerking moment in the video is just like you turning this hobby, that one video, the Christmas Jams video, into a career. Is Penn, you're at home more, and Kim, you're at home more, and she even said she didn't have many memories because Penn, you were working in the news all the time, and obviously that's a shared thing that we all have, the news business. So, I mean, were you expecting that response when you asked that question?
No, and certainly we thought they were going to kind of haze us a little bit, just about being cringy,
which we totally accepted and deserve. Yeah,
that's at that age. That's normally what you get, and you're happy to have anything from them. Like we're already talking about how we're going to trap them into seeing us more when they leave, and they're still here. Like I think that's kind of where our brains sometimes go. But I mean, she's right. The news business. You remember this, Charlie? It's either 2 to 11 or it's 2 to 11. Mm-hmm. It's either 2 in the afternoon until 11 o'clock at night, or it's 2 in the morning until 11 o'clock in the morning. And I straddled both of those with my kids, and you're just a zombie because most of the time that you're home and awake, they're asleep. And so you got to find some time that at least the two of you are awake. And it became a lot more pronounced when Lola went to grade school, right? Because it wasn't like, oh, I'll pick her up at noon before I have to go to work and I'll spend a little bit of time with her. There was literally nothing comfortable during the week where I could see her. We had a 7 o'clock newscast, so I couldn't get home until 8. and she was asleep by then. And so I understand why she doesn't remember me. And when we made this decision to move to our new jobs, the decision didn't include us being on camera influencers. We were originally going to produce videos for other people. That was what we were planning on doing. And then once we discovered this world and the opportunities within it of being able to express yourself, still be on camera, and make that a simpler way to just kind of control your own brand instead of working for others, that was attractive to us for that reason. And it also allowed us to make our own hours and to see both of them more. And in particular, like PC wasn't old enough to remember me not being around, but Lola certainly was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kim, like, I got Penn's whole backstory when Penn was on the podcast the last time. But what's your history in sort of media, and how were you feeling 10 years ago when this was sort of a topic of conversation? The social media landscape was very different. It was a different time. So what's sort of your backstory, and how did you feel then?
My backstory is very similar to yours and to Penn's. I worked in local news. I worked at Inside Edition in New York City, and I did all the red carpet stuff and traveled. And that's where Lola was born, actually, in New York. I went back to work and was on an airplane all the time as a correspondent for Inside Edition. And Penn was between jobs. And so he actually was primary caretaker for Lola. But that was a really hard, I was on the airplane with my breast pump, and it was just like a hard gig. So moved here doing the local news reporter thing again. That was a miserable existence. So with a friend, I actually started like media training, and social media was new, social media marketing. We're like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like we could figure it out. And of course, video production. So I'd go out and shoot videos for companies, and Penn would edit them before or after he got home from work. So we're offering video production, social media marketing. So that was the company. And we had enough to get by. We weren't totally broke, but we only had about 2 months in savings before we did Christmas jammies. And I just told Penn, like, I'm not afraid to be broke. I grew up broke. I've been broke. But I am scared to be miserable. And we were miserable. And so, yeah, the plan was not to go viral and to do this. The plan was to get hired by local companies to create commercials and websites and run their social media. And then for the first several years after Christmas Jammies, that's primarily what we did. We went into an office and did work behind the scenes, and occasionally we put out videos, but like this was not the business plan, like doing this stuff at all. We were supposed to be behind the scenes, which would have been fine. And because of Christmas Jammies, we got thousands of emails with companies that were interested in that. So that did start our business and allow us to do that. But like, to be clear, none of this was supposed to happen. But we are so lucky, and you probably live like this too. We are so thankful that the things we love to do, he loves to create music and write songs. I love to write. We love being goofballs. The fact that we both get to do this for right now, for however long this lasts, it's more than a dream come true, because I didn't even know that this was the dream,
Yeah. Definitely. And wait, where was it you grew up again?
I grew up in Florida, on the west coast of Florida.
And Penn, you grew up
here, Durham.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't want to say in case I was wrong. So, and then you guys, what's the couple origin story?
I saw him in a bar. He was doing the worm, and I was like, "Back off, ladies. That man is mine.
Dang.
He is mine." Yeah, that was it. I just put my claws into him.
Really?
And yeah, still, he had no choice.
The worm gotcha?
The worm. Are you kidding me? He was in the middle of this trendy nightclub, and he was on the stage doing the worm. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, you other guys are like dressed really nice with your hair gel. I don't know how he got up there either, but I walked, and it was a little more nuanced than that, because he was dating somebody, and I think I was dating somebody, and it was months later that we connected. But I knew, I'm like, that's him. That's so weird that he's just right there. He doesn't even know it yet. So that's how I remember it.
And Penn, do you remember meeting Kim that night?
I think that's probably one of the first times we spoke. But I knew who she was. She was a news reporter. And the first time I saw her on television, I was like, oh my God, it's her. And it's because I'd seen her. This is crazy. I'd seen her a year before that walking on a sideline of a Florida football game. And she walked by me and I got like whiplash. She was with your boyfriend at the time, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. So and I was like holding a camera like a peon, like running back. If you hold
a camera, you're a very important person, by the way. It's a very hard job.
It is.
I was told that I was a peon. I'm so glad I did it for decades because it made me better at the job I currently have.
It's a hard job.
But yeah, so you had someone holding your camera for you. And I was holding my camera for myself. Anyway, you walk past me and you walk by and I'm like, that's the prettiest human I've ever seen in my life. And like when someone like that walks past you, you remember that. And so then I saw her on TV, just like I was looking up because when you're at a TV station, they put all of the competitors' televisions like all next to you once the show starts, so you can find out what everybody else is leading with. You remember this, Charlie?
You're giving me PTSN.
Right. So I saw. Yeah, I
PTND, post-traumatic news disorder. That's it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a very hyper-specific sketch you should write. Anyway,
I know.
I didn't know if I'd ever run into her because I was a sports person and she was a news person. But then we did run into each other, and that was nice. I'm glad that the first impression you had of me was that. I guess doing the work.
So sweet.
What was the first date?
Well, to be really honest, because we worked these weird hours and we were both out of relationships, we decided it was best that we talk on the phone before going on a date. So for about a couple months, we just talked on the phone every night for like 3 hours, like we were in 1986.
Really?
And yeah. And so by the time we went on a first date, it was like, oh, I guess we're going to get married now. So
yeah. So I think we might have like,
what are you?
Yeah. No. Kim.
No.
What's going on here? Are you guys?
I think we may have like.
You guys are buffering. You're couple buffering.
Okay, am
right
I
now.
wrong?
Whatever she doesn't want you to say, I'm interested in that.
I think our first kiss was before our first date.
Yes.
More confused now than I was before. So
I cannot say anything else.
Where did the first kiss take place?
On the mouth.
What was the location?
We could listen. I'm going to explain this to people, and they're going to be okay with this. Okay. Because the only time we could see each other was after 12 o'clock at night. That was the only time because we were working. Right. There were no other options. I think we had different scheduled hours. Like I think I had to work Saturdays and Sundays because I was in sports. So there were no opportunities to have a date. But people would all the people in the news would go to a bar somewhere at 12 o'clock and hope that they can spend 2 hours before they go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a crazy existence. One that we live the opposite of right now. We're in bed by 8 o'clock on some nights, reading, because that's just a lot of fun. I know, Charlie. I know.
No, I mean, you got to start the bedime process early.
You have to.
It's a multi-hour process.
Right. So there was a night that I lived in Lake Mary, and it's
in Central Florida. It's about 30 minutes from downtown. Orlando.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to get home from. So when I go out, I either didn't drink or I would leave my car and crash with a buddy. Mm-hmm. Which both of those things were frequent. And so Kim and her friend Cynthia, I was friends with them. And we went to a bar and they're don't drive home, just crash at our place. So I slept on the couch.
He slept on the couch
downstairs. But then we had a Notting Hill moment. I don't know if you saw that movie.
Well, Notting Hill, refresh my memory.
Well, no, we just had a moment where we made out on the stairs in my apartment, but then we slept in separate places.
Did we? Okay. I guess so.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I just went back downstairs and stayed on the couch.
Yeah.
Darn it.
No, I believe all of that.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
That's what happened. That's what happened. And then fast forward, and oh my gosh, here we are today. You know?
You're like a little embarrassed right now, aren't you?
No, I just wanted. I know. I'm not.
What it seems as though is that Kim is, Penn, your PR person right now, standing, making sure you don't say anything that's going to jeopardize the future of the movie. You know, that's what this feels like. That's the energy.
I would say potentially that like we were in our 20s when we first met, and it's okay to
kiss
on the mouth.
Stairs.
On the mouth.
On the mouth.
No babies were made.
Oh,
so like it was.
I would okay.
And then we had a date like a few days later, or a few I got some time off at work and we went on a date, and I bought a shirt for it, and I don't think I ever wore it again. I don't know how to dress. Period.
I think you're a very snazzy dresser, myself.
Well,
that's Kim.
I have to buy all of his clothes for him. Yeah.
That was how it went.
Like a year. So like 9 months later, we were engaged, and 9 months after that, we were married, and a year after that, we had a baby. So
wow. And so your 20th anniversary is next year, correct? 20th wedding anniversary.
You.
I mean, if I'm being honest, it's Colleen, my fantastic producer, messaging this.
Anne-Marie. Yes, got it.
Will you let me know every time Colleen messages something and just like interrupt whatever we're saying?
Yes.
Because
I want to know.
And give her a microphone.
Yeah. Colleen specifically said, I know she should have a microphone.
Yeah.
She said, I need a raise. Okay, we're done reading those things. She did say, however, 20th anniversary is next year. What are your tips for a happy, long marriage? Of course, this question is coming from a divorced guy. So, I'll be taking notes.
He's, for those listening, he is taking notes on a pretend note of paper. And
he's showing his age a little bit by licking the pen before walking out.
Still lick pen?
It's part of the mime. I think, really. It's so you know what's going on.
Guys, just because I know how to use a pen does not mean I'm old. Even though I know I'm old.
So if you ask a child now to say, like, how do you signal talking on a phone? They do this. Do you know that instead of that?
Yeah, and I do this in my live show every time I'm doing a phone, and sometimes I'll do this.
Oh, like you're like you're holding on for dear life, like it's a dump. Yeah,
this is really good for an audio podcast.
I know, just doing well. There's video elements,
you guys should go watch the video.
Thank you. That's a good plug.
So, our tips. I think that Penn is the reason we're still married, because I get sick of me. So the fact that he could put up with me when even I don't want to put up with me is the reason we're still married. But for real, he gets over things in a very genuine and authentic way very easily. We do fight. We did marriage counseling. We even wrote a book, but we do fight. But once it's resolved, it is resolved. And I came into the relationship that like the second I was pissed off, I would run out the door and be very dramatic. I would hold grudges and say like, well, get really sassy. And he just, if I act like an ass and I apologize, it's like, it's cool. Let's move on. And then it's really done in a way that's shocking. So that's the reason we're still married. So I think find somebody who's really good at getting over things, because at one point in time, you're going to be an asshole. And you need somebody to forgive you for that.
Put a button in that, because there is an interesting reason why my brain forgives so quickly. And it's because of my ADHD. And we learned about that in the book that's coming out next month, or in a couple of months, about
pre-orders next month.
About ADHD. It's called Fishbowl Brain, but I'll tell you that later. I'll tell you that story later.
Yes.
Unless you don't want to, and then I can just gloss over it and we use it as a teaser.
Penn, as a guy who also has it, I'd love to dive down that well.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But the tip that I would have for marriage is, Kim was very sweet to me right then. But the thing that's great about Kim is her general self-awareness and ability to talk about everything, including when she does go a little bit gaga, she actively narrates it.
I'm going crazy.
Yeah, and it's kind of incredible that to have the ability to be vulnerable and self-aware enough to to let them know when you're having a really hard time, or when you, or quickly realizing when it is that you are losing control of the way that you normally are. Mm-hmm. She taught me how to do that. I was never very good at that, because I do occasionally get irrational. Everybody does. But she is like, I would say, find a person who is willing to go down this journey with you, which is when the bleep hits the fan and all of your flight or fight kind of symptoms are coming out and you're just kind of gnashing your teeth at the other person, that you can actually either take a step back and say, can we talk about this tomorrow? We're both being crazy. And then let it just sort of simmer down a bit. Or while you're there, have the sense to say, this is something that I'm not very good at. This is something that I can't control right now. And just have that self-awareness to de-escalate things. You also like learn so much about that other person. Does that make sense?
It does. It does to me. Like, you just call it out and say your truth right as it is, but I think what that takes is like less ego on the part of the person who's doing it. Cause it's often like embarrassing to say you're acting irrationally, or embarrassing to say you're getting mad about this thing, and you kind of try and self-protect this coach.
Yeah. I think I do, like, I am aware enough to know that, and I've done enough therapy to know, like, this is, I'm sorry that you have to put up with this. And yes, this is how I'm feeling right now. But it's what's fixing.
You're good. No, keep talking. My mouse just lost connection.
This is great. We're really
is this good? Vulnerable. This isn't a video podcast, right?
There's a video element, but don't worry about it. It adds to the dynamic, Penn.
Okay.
I really like it.
It is hard to be like, to feel safe enough to say, and to trust this other person enough to say, I know I'm in the wrong. I know I just did that wrong. I know I said that wrong. And I'm very competitive and I don't like to be wrong. So I have to feel very safe in a situation to say, yeah, might be. And he makes me feel safe.
Well, that's really sweet. That's awesome. So that's kind of the deal, just that bringing in the communication, but you guys dealing with the different communication styles. Penn, are you a compartmentalizer? Because that's what it seemed like the initial thing was. Okay, I'll put this here, I'll deal with it later, or never at all.
Yeah. So a big part of it also is just a neurodiverse brain. And this is, I'm going to quote Marcy Caldwell, who helped us write this book. The ADHD brain has this sort of emotional component that she calls fishbowl brain. And basically a couple of things. Number one, everything that's inside the fishbowl is what has your attention. So let's say you're a fish and there's like a treasure chest and there's some sand and there's like another fish swimming around. And then there's some stuff outside the fishbowl you don't even know that exists. And if you take it out of the fishbowl, it's not there anymore. If you put it back in, it's there again. So the brain kind of compartmentalizes itself. It can lead to a lot of problems when it comes to multitasking, because you become fixated on the thing that's in the fishbowl. Mm-hmm. But also emotionally inside the fishbowl, your feelings and the way that you see the world are instantly affected by the color of the water inside the fishbowl. So if someone were to put, like, let's say blue is like happiness. If someone were to drop some blue dye in a fishbowl tank and you're looking at everything, that's you in a good mood. The treasure chest is beautiful. The sand it feels good between your toes. All of these wonderful things are going on. If something goes wrong and that dropper turns to red, that fishbowl is too heavy. That sand is raspy on the bottom of my feet. I am very irritated right now, and your emotions take a pretty violent turn one way or the other. And that can be problematic in some ways. But when it comes to being in a fight, if you're in a fight and it turns, dark red and your brain is going that way, all it takes is one other thing to happen. Like it could be, for her, it could be her giving me a hug. It could be her saying something nice, and immediately the dropper goes in, and whatever happened before emotionally is a recent memory. And it's the way that she's discovered dealing with ADHD people, that they don't hold grudges because of the same reasons that they're unable to sometimes multitask with several things.
So by the way, he said helped write the book. She's one of the researchers that he interviewed. He interviewed a ton of researchers, and it's super fascinating and digestible for the ADHD brain. And it's been what he's been working on for the past year. And I'm very, very proud of him because he did so much work on this. So yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's really nice. And Penn, as she was saying that, I was looking at you and you were giving that 1,000-mile stare of all the work you were doing on that book. I mean, how much pressure was there on you to do this book, something that like isn't like a video? You can't just take it down afterwards, you know? And it's on something that is, I don't want to say it's not controversial in any way, but it's something where a lot of people have ADHD, and a lot of people there are stigmas, older stigmas about ADHD that certainly in certain parts of the country still resonate. You know, so you kind of have to get it right. I would imagine if I were writing that, that'd be what's going through my brain. Was that kind of some of the pressure, or was it something else?
Yeah, no, I'm the pressure started out with, this is such a vast amount of information, and how are we going to make this digestible, and how are we going to make it readable by not only people who have it, but people who support those who have it.
Right.
And I got a lot of help. That was where I got a lot of help from Kim, from Anne-Marie, from Sam, from our entire team, from you, Charlie. Like, we looked at the model of your Midwest survival guide, and while it's a totally different topic, we wanted the format to feel like that.
Yeah, because I felt like your book was so great and just like nuggets, right? And very digestible for an ADHD brain.
Mm-hmm.
So almost like the guy who wrote it had ADHD, you know?
Right?
Exactly.
I know at one point you were talking about getting the book in color and all of that.
We got it.
You did.
We got it in
Congratulations.
color.
Now, that whole aspect was interesting because you wanted that. I think there may have been some pushback early on, but you had this creative vision for it and you pushed for it and you got it. That doesn't always happen.
We have a great publisher. I have no idea what that does to our profit margin. I imagine the answer is something. But yeah. What I think we and HarperCollins both agreed was that like it had to be done the right way. And you know, like, we'll see what happens financially. I have no idea.
I mean, it's not like books, unless you're J.K. Rowling or you know, it's not like books are going to be what we retire off of. But I mean, maybe yours was different. The process is amazing, and it's such a gift to be able to do it, because I think it's really hard to even get a literary agent right now. So the fact that and it's more of a labor of love, because Penn every single day gets. Did you see the email today that came from that girl in China? I mean, there's people every single day, kids, parents, they're talking to him about his ADHD, asking him questions. So this is more of a labor of love, and it was like an act of service. And so I don't know how profitable it's going to be. So that's why we're like, if we're not going to make any money, let's make it in color. So we're going to not make money, but it's going to be pretty.
Yeah. But it is something too that, no, it is a labor of love. And that always finds its way back financially in some way, shape, form, you know, because, you know, you really become an expert in this space. And it's a space that a lot of people actively seek out guidance in. So I think that's really cool. Are you afraid of anything leading up to this deal? Are you afraid of something you wrote that maybe you're like, I hope it's taken the way I want it to be taken, or like something was, what are your fears?
That's a good question.
It's a great question. So there's one thing I'm anticipating, and there's one thing I don't want to say I'm afraid of, but I'm wary of. I'm anticipating that some of those old kind of feelings by society to come out. Like, you are giving these people an excuse for being lazy, for not working hard. You are giving people a chance to cop out, when really what you need to do is sack up and pay attention. So because that is a common thing in.
Everybody has ADHD these days. Nobody has it. Yeah. In my day.
It's the damn cell phones, you know? And there is sort of an adaptive attention disorder that does happen when you spend too much time on your phone. But that's not, we try to clearly delineate that. here's what I'm wary of. And Kim helped me become aware of this. And we did many drafts and many changes to the book as a result. Because what we are is we're presenting this as a neurodiversity, as something that a lot of times people like you and I behave ways that we don't have any choice for doing. And we're asking those caretakers to give us some grace and understanding. And in some cases, like radical acceptance, like I will accept you for who you are. We've got to have radical commitment, of course. We can't just stay on our, like, if we're doing something wrong, we apologize. We say it's my brain, but I'm going to try like hell to do better at it. The concern is, and we were very careful with this, the concern is to make sure when you are reading this book, you're learning about this brain, you're understanding that you have to be forgiving of this person. It does not give them an excuse to just act like that because you've been stamped as this type of person. Because that would not be good for the caregivers who sometimes are going through hell to have to put up with people like me.
It's okay, babe. You're cute.
But
and you could do the worm.
And you can do the worm.
I can do the worm. But that's something that's very much on my mind. I don't want to be a burden to anyone, but I did discover while writing this book, there are a lot of things that I have felt shameful and guilty of doing, to which I had no choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, that is a good distinction to say, this is a thing that is with me and there's really not a whole lot I can do to change the fact that I have it, but there are things I can work on and take care of my side of the street of helping myself and therefore helping others around me, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the back, because we do a lot of videos on the topic of ADHD, whether it's like a goofy sketch or a song, and they'll be widely received and just like such good feedback. But then there's always very, very valid feedback because it's so nuanced. And to make a 3-minute video on something, you can't bring everything up. You're like, well, you just have your wife clean up after you and your wife does all this stuff for you. And you're just, blaming all the, so there's that part of it. So the book does allow more nuance and explanations about how we actually make it work.
Hey, folks, excuse the interruption, but I just want to tell you that this podcast you're listening to is powered by the sun. That's right. We got Everlight solar panels right on the roof above where I speak, and they are getting that free energy, baby, whether you're doing it for the environment or doing it for the bank account. Get yourself off that grid. Why do you want to pay the man when the man can pay you?
Does that pay for like the thermostat, or is that a different thing? Thermostat's gas?
Up here it is electric.
Not in the rest of the house.
No. Well,
okay.
Yeah, we have a dual system here. Eventually we'll change that out, but
I was going to say that's why I've kept the heat up at this office all week, blazing hot.
Yeah, I don't think you cared at all about the cost of that. Yeah, it's like a sauna down there sometimes.
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah.
Nice for my afternoon nap.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that it's promoting productivity on top of being a nice little hit to the pocketbook.
Yeah,
but
anyway.
Regardless, Everlight Solar, ladies and gentlemen.
Everlightsolar.com to see your free consultation to see how Everlight or solar panels can work for you.
Yes, and they can, and they will. Check them out, everlightsolar.com. Folks, I also want to tell you about Fleet Farm. They got everything you need to keep your favorite wild birds and their friends coming back all winter long. Check out their huge selection of seed and food for every type of bird that you're trying to attract. Plus, pick up a feeder or birdhouse and give those beautiful birds a safe, warm place to come spend some time away from the cold. Your backyard will be the best birding place on the block after you get stocked up at the Fleet Farm. And I'll say this as a birder myself, there is no better feeling than seeing a little, house wren. Choose your house to wren in. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right now.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And also, if you like squirrels, they got 2x4s there, chop them up, screw a big old screw in the middle of it, put it up, and then screw a corn on the cob right there. Oh my gosh. Squirrels love that.
That's our next video.
That's the next video, folks. Anyway, check it out. Fleet Farm. Anywhere you got to go for getting anything you need, go to the Fleet Farm.
Wow.
And on your way there, watch for deer.
The way you say bees are so punctuated.
Bees?
Like birding. Like every time you said it, like just listening, it's a very punctuated sound.
P's and B's. That's why they have this here. It's a pop filter. It's for the P's. Folks, if you want to support the Cripescast, best way to do it, go to cripescast.com, click on the merch section. We've got some great crew necks. We got hoodies. We got
Team Soda versus Team Pop, cribbage board, deck of cards, anything to really keep yourself occupied this winter. Head to cripescast.com and click on the merch.
Koozies too. Check it out. Also, if you want to check out behind the scenes, some crowd work from the shows, go to patreon.com/Charlie Barons. Get all the behind the scenes stuff, extra clips, extended cuts. We got it there for you. First look at show tickets. Check us out.
Patreon.com/Charlie Barons.
There you go. All right, let's get back to the episode. Kim, like, what are some things, maybe tips that you might have for someone who is either, a parent or a spouse or a partner of somebody with ADHD? Do you have any sort of thoughts from your standpoint on that, things that have helped you along the way?
Also good question. And that has been my very small contribution to the book. I talk about it from kind of like caregiver, spouse, partner perspective. I think in the beginning of our marriage, I'm like, I will just make him a list. And if I just make him a list, everything will be fine. And he was really good at the list. If he had a list, he could get it done. Well, as you know, it's just the mental load of typically gender roles. Typically it's women who are doing the air traffic controller of life, who take on that role. But I got really sick of making the effing list. And I was like, Ben's like, you're up. And so it has just been trying to have conversations in a calm way of like, could you look around and see what needs to be done? And could you do those things? So I have to be really patient because his brain literally doesn't see that his brain works best in chaos and mine does not. So I've had to, and he tries really hard, but sometimes like it just doesn't happen. So I have to say like extreme patience. I think making what has worked for my son too, who has ADHD, is give like a template, like a form of, so now he knows how to make his own lists and it helps him to have a list. So now he has to make his own list. So kind of teaching him how to notice those things. What else is there? I think it's like a lot of grace and patience, but also I'm very aware that like I have my own shit. So like he has to put up with me as well. So I'm just like very self-aware. This
probably isn't surprising to some people, but this type of person often finds this type of person as their soulmate. And so this sort of dynamic is not unusual. A lot of times people who don't have ADHD are drawn to people who do and vice versa.
And I think when that is very interesting to note. And I think oftentimes too, a lot of the stuff with ADHD is focusing on the negative side effects of it. But what are maybe some of the positive side effects of things that people can look as a big benefit?
Yeah, we actually talk about that a ton.
I think we've done even videos. I think he can sit there, Charlie, and write probably like you, but he does it with music. I told him, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny? We should do some sort of song about the fact that I keep every single good box. Like I have this good box. And after the holidays, I was like, God, I just have a lot of good boxes and I don't want to get rid of them. So, but I just like put them in the corner. And so I said, you should write some sort of like song or jingle. 20 minutes later, he came downstairs. He had recorded this song about like a good box. And then 20 minutes later, we recorded it and he just hyper fixated it and edited it and like put it out the same, like just that hyperfixation. It can be very, very, he's so creative. It can be very, very good. And I don't think a typical brain does that. My brain doesn't.
That video is hilarious, by the way. I mean, it's great observation, bang to the song. The music video is so funny, so relatable. I mean, saving the boxes is like the Bag of Bags version with boxes. You know?
And we have a bag song.
Bags is next.
Bags is next. Yes.
That's awesome.
Bags is next.
If you guys need any B-roll for that, I've got really big bags with bags and bags and bags.
That is a great idea. We will be calling you for a video contribution for this.
Yep. Let me do a cameo. I just want to be holding my bags of bags, showing them off. But no, it is super cool to see how you embrace the good of it and show that there's good in it, and also acknowledge the downsides and try and work on those. I mean, I think that's just a cool thing for people to see, because I think people get frustrated. They say, I've got this, and they often can use it as an excuse, speaking for myself, you know? And so to manage it and use the good of it, it's a double-edged sword, but you can still cut things with a sword, you know? Also your finger, you can cut your finger. So you got to be careful, but
there's two sides to the sword. So you can cut things in two directions.
Oh, this metaphor's really taken off,
You
guys.
can like really just like Britney Spears it. Did you see Britney Spears with her swords?
I did. Yeah. With the knives. Yeah.
The knives. I love her so much.
She is great. And that is a weird analogy, because I feel like all swords are double-sided. Otherwise it's a knife.
It's more of a knife.
Yeah. A double-edged sword is just a sword.
Well, a double-edged, you're right.
But it doesn't sound as good as, man, that problem really is a sword.
Yeah, the idiot.
You got
sword. Yeah.
Or we're going to find out that maybe not all swords are double-edged. How's that possible?
Now that I say that, no. If you think about it, because if you think, guys, if you think of Leonardo right now, the famous Ninja Turtle, I don't think those swords are double-edged.
But I don't know if that was a sword. That was more of
those were the little mini ones. Those were called,
that's Raph. That's Raphael.
Wait a minute. Hang on. I think you're right, too. Because, like, pirate swords only have one side.
They only have one side.
It's like a saber. Like, you know what I mean?
Saber.
Like a saber.
You know what? Now we're going deep down. This is such an ADD conversation.
This is ADHD.
I think a saber is a kind of sword. I think a sword is anything that you need a handle to, like, stab somebody.
I think I need to. This is, by the way, I think I actually could get diagnosed with ADHD, but one of us has to not have it. So I have to really I know. But I have to.
If you were ADHDer than me,
we'd get nothing done. But this is what happens. Like we'll be in a fight, and he'll say something like, he'll like mix up his idioms or something. I'm like, why do you think it is a gift horse? No, like does the horse have a gift? Yeah, and then that's the end of it. So
no, it means that like if a guy shows up at your door with a horse in its mouth, you take that horse and you turn around and you shut up. You go. No.
Is he giving a horse? Okay,
that's a Trojan horse reference, though, right?
That is, because then it's there. And speaking of all of this, we do have a definition from the great Cripescast producer Colleen Maraca. Definition: sword, a weapon with a long metal blade and a hilt with a handguard, used for thrusting or striking, and now typically worn as part of a ceremonial dress. So I don't see.
Doesn't even say like a blade is on both sides.
Doesn't even address the edge. Doesn't even address it.
So I guess double-edged is needed. Okay.
I guess so. Well, moving right along, I want to talk about the Amazing Race. I know it happened a little while ago, but I feel how it's cool that you guys start off making your own content and then you make that crossover to sort of traditional media. It doesn't happen often or a ton. It usually takes some time, but you guys did it. How did that happen? And how was it winning that sucker?
Well, we got a call from a casting producer who said, and we have always loved that show. I've loved that show as a news reporter at Inside Edition. I covered the finale of the Amazing Race several times. So I'm like super into the show. And when the casting producer called, I was like, absolutely not. Because you had to be gone for 30 days and you had no access to your cell phone. And I had 2 kids. And I was like, I'm not going to be gone for my kids for 30 days without being able to call them. And then my daughter said, and it was supposed to originally take place during February.
My daughter was furious that we said we weren't going to do it.
And she was at the time, probably like 13 or 14. And when it started, the process, she's like, are you going to remember some random February in your life? Or are you going to remember going on the Amazing Race?
Wow.
I know. And so it's like, fine. And so we had to apply. We had made an audition tape. We had to apply. We had to go through rounds of interviews. Then we got on the show. It started and we did this. Our scene was, or our season was sort of famous because we did 3 episodes, and then March 1st of 2020. So we shot 3 legs of the race, and then COVID happened.
Yeah. At the end of I think February the 28th, we were in Scotland, and they said, "Hey, you guys, we're just going to have a kind of a down day. Everyone just go back to your rooms. It's going to be okay." And you didn't have internet, you didn't have phones. Still, they were not granting us access to those things, but we could just turn on the BBC, which it was like an Italian cruise ship is trying to dock, and all of London is completely beeped up. And we're like in Scotland. We're right next to it. So we were able to put together, the race, the COVID is literally, which was called the coronavirus at that point, right? Is the coronavirus is literally like hanging in a cloud over our hotel right now.
And you're not allowed to talk to other contestants unless there's cameras rolling. So when you're they say you're on ice, so they take you down to the hotel lobby to have your breakfast, and you're really you're not supposed to be talking to the other contestants who are right there. But we were the oldest couple. And so, we had this a weird down day in the hotel, when we weren't racing. And I just looked at the other teams and I'm like, you guys, we're going home. We're going home. I'm like, we're going to go home. And they're like, no, they would never cancel the racing. I'm like, there's no reason. They're not going to keep us. And I would say to the producers, I was like, just tell us and just send us, just wrap this up. And it took them 3 days to figure us out how to get the entire casting, to unravel everything to get us home. So they sent us home for 19 months. And then, we were still deep in the pandemic, but in 2021.
Yeah. So
October 2021, we went back to finish the season.
And to put the timeline in your perspective, Charlie, we left for the race less than a month after we did our Target thing.
Oh my God.
The initial Target thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
When we first met, it was right around then. And then we didn't go back until the end of 2021.
That's wild. So, okay. So shortly after I locked my keys in the trunk,
and then had to
break into my trunk.
Break into your own trunk.
What a good time. The untold story of the making of Husbands of Target is a documentary that needs to happen at some point. It really is almost funny how I can go anywhere, and that's one of the 2 things people will bring up. Yep. And I'm like, wasn't my idea. Thank you. That's nice.
Didn't write it. That was awesome.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah. But so you get back into the deal, and were you guys I know you want to win it, but were you thinking you had a good shot at winning it while you were doing it?
I mean, right before COVID happened, we'd won our first leg. Mm-hmm. If you watch the show, that means you finished first, on one particular day of kind of racing around the world. And so we had some confidence. I think we kind of figured out how to communicate, and we felt older, but in a good way than some of the contestants. We were going to be able to work some stuff out maybe. And then the one really interesting thing, and I think this actually really helped us a lot. The last day before COVID hit, we had a self-driving day, which used to not happen very much, right? You
have to read a map, and I have to navigate from the back seat while he drives.
And I had to drive a stick shift. And it was all these things that millennials just didn't know how to do. Sorry, Charlie. They just don't.
I had a Rabbit, an 81 Volkswagen Rabbit.
But what about a map? Can you read a map?
I can read a map. I remember,
this is why
guys.
You're an older millennial.
You're an elder millennial. That's why.
Yeah. Now I'm going to take the benefits of it.
Yes.
There you go. Well, some of the younger millennials we were with had never driven stick shift. They never had to navigate with a map. All of these things that we learned to do, but that cell phones have kind of taken away the need to do. And so when we went back for the final several legs of the race, because of COVID, we couldn't get in taxi cabs.
So we had to drive everywhere.
And so everything was self-drive. And I really believe that was a big advantage for us because we're old.
I would say after the first 3 legs, we had a really, really, really bad day, and our worst placement was 5th. And I looked at Penn. I was like, we sucked today. We were awful. And we came in 5th. I think we could win this. And so, but we got lucky. We got lucky, and we knew how to read a map. So I felt like we had a really good chance. Which is I'm very competitive, but I'm not overly confident. I'm just saying that we could read a map. If it were a traditional season, maybe not, because a cab would have gotten lost and all that stuff. But in our season, yeah, I felt good.
Nice. And so winning the deal, was that what you imagined it would be like? Is it like what they show on the telly, or does it come with some stuff people don't see off the?
I mean, it was really cool.
Cool.
Everyone was waiting for you, and they did make, we did have to do it twice. Like we got there and they were like, "Hey, can you do it one more time, like from a different angle?" And we were like, "I'm not going to be as excited as I was before, but I'll try."
Yeah. We ran through, we did the whole thing, and he said, "You're the winners." And then we hug and they do an interview and they're like, "Okay, we got some times. Can you just I think we redid it 2 more times."
Yeah. And they ended up using the first one, I think.
No, they did, because you were tripping over getting your bag off. But yeah, they did have you. That actually happened a couple times. One time we showed up because we were really quick and they were not ready for us. So
the pit stop?
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat the photographer.
They're like, "You're going to have to wait here until we." Yeah. So like they don't ever interfere or get in your way. But there are times when you're like, "We're going to need you to do that again."
And they keep it fair, right? Like if you got there, it's not like someone else is going to show up. They're like, "Okay, you won. Just hang on a second."
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's really cool. Did you get any sort of things afterwards that you weren't expecting, like interview stuff or just other opportunities that came from that randomly?
Not really. We've got a bit of a platform. We had one beforehand. I think, what I think? I think people who go on Facebook and Instagram are sometimes a different cross-section of America from people who watch TV, who watch broadcast television. So I think just being out and about and hearing and meeting different types of people who are familiar with your work, I think that was one thing. But Charlie, you and I and Kim all know that growing a platform on a digital channel and growing a presence on a broadcast channel are 2 completely different things.
It's a different audience.
Yeah.
So I don't even think that we experienced much growth on the digital platform. It's funny because the other people were still really good friends with everybody on the show. And they're like, "Oh, I thought there'd be more, like they'd get more like followers or whatever." But which is fine. We did not go on to that show for that reason. In fact, my mom gave us the advice as we were walking at the door. She said, "I don't know that this is going to help you in your job, but I know it could hurt you. So just be careful what you say." I was like, fair. That is really good advice. Very fair. So we were very careful.
Yeah. I feel like I was tiptoeing around this. I should have just said, like, we met a lot of cool boomers.
Yeah, it's an older crowd.
Like people who don't normally go on YouTube or Instagram or, wherever.
Everybody's really nice. And
it's been lovely.
The people who love The Amazing Race are diehard.
Yeah.
They are very, very true blue. I have to say that I had to get off of The Amazing Race, not the official Facebook page, but The Amazing Race fan Facebook page, because they do not like influencers. So they thought we were doing this to like clout chase. I'm like, guys, this is not. No.
Yeah, that's our day job, is chasing clout.
We chase clout 9 to 5. I don't want to do that on a TV show.
Right. We're coming close on time. Want to respect you guys' time. But before we wrap this up, I want to do a little rapid fire. Who's most likely to, and these are just knee-jerk reactions, who you think is more or less likely to do this thing? Who's most likely to help on math homework?
Okay. Oh, me.
Penn.
Okay, you're a good math guy, Penn.
He's a mathlete.
I have a trophy. I could show it to you. It's bigger than any of my sports trophies.
Is that the one you're most proud of?
No.
Okay.
He doesn't have a trophy.
No, it's just, but it's just, I was really good at math. I went on a bus and I came back with a trophy.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Dude. I feel like he didn't get enough congrats for that back in the day.
He played math.
No, I came off the bus like, yeah. And it was, of course, there's nobody there.
Your mom.
Yeah, she was there.
Who is most likely to pack the kids' lunches?
Oh,
Kim. Okay.
I show love through food.
And what was it? What was your go-to sandwich, Kim?
To eat or to make for my children?
To make for the kids. PB&J?
No, because everybody's with the peanut butter. It's very highly. We do a ham and cheese, ham and Swiss.
Mm-hmm.
It's very.
But it's really her accoutrement that stick out. The carrot and hummus game, the individual hummus packet that goes in there, the little
Yeah, little apple slices with lemon.
Oh
like
my!
a little, so it doesn't get all brown.
Wait,
Maybe
what's wrong with peanut butter?
Well, a lot of people are allergic to peanut butter. So most schools are nut free so that you are respectful of people who have allergies.
When the hell did that happen?
It has been happening.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's very if you like cut me, peanut butter would fall out because of I was raised on peanut butter and jelly, but that's not, that's not, which totally fine. There's lots of other things to eat.
Yeah. Cheers to the nuts allergies. All right. Most likely to forget plans on the family calendar.
Oh,
I mean,
me.
That's,
wow.
It's great. Yeah. Because I just don't put them on the calendar, but yeah, I don't think you forget them. Sometimes you just put them in the wrong place.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I could also have ADHD, but one of us needs to pretend we don't have ADHD. But I have booked plane tickets to the wrong city before. I've showed up to the airport.
Wrong year?
No, we need to go to Florida.
Yeah.
And our tickets are to New York.
But then you had one that was the wrong year. You had one that was for 2016.
Oh, I did.
In 2015.
Yes.
I did that. I just booked a flight in the wrong month. And I got to the airport. I was like, oh, shoot. Except I didn't say shoot. Okay, who's the stricter one when it comes to curfews?
Ooh.
We're both pretty. Charlie, I think it's both of us. We've both gotten pretty strict about getting people home. That's a pretty hard curfew.
I know. It is interesting because our daughter's just now driving and trying to she doesn't try to push it, but she's like, what are the rules? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are, but I know I don't want to stay up until midnight. So I feel like it should be 11. So
yeah. Do they have to wake you up and blow in your face when they get back so you can smell their booze?
So I have not heard that.
Yeah. My mom used to make me blow to see if I was drinking or smoking the pot.
Oh, okay. Well, I heard something where, and maybe this is a good idea. You put an alarm clock in the hallway outside your room and you set the alarm for the curfew. So the kid has to get home in time to turn off the alarm or it wakes up the parent.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I think she would have, but she's not sneaky at all. She's not sneaky, but she would have her brother go turn it off maybe instead, but she's not sneaky. So
I would have definitely had my brother do that. One time I got a drinking ticket right before I was going to college, underager. Ranger Rick gave me at camping, and I paid my sister to intercept the ticket that came in the mail, tear it up, and I had her put it in 3 different garbage cans.
Oh, that's an investment in your future. An underager.
It is.
Are your parents just now learning about this, or is it something that you told them about earlier? They
learned about it, I would say, a couple years later after I pissed off my sister and she ratted me out.
Oh, yeah. No.
A retrospective rat. No, they're not. You have to constantly maintain these relationships in your family or else they'll throw you under the bus. All right. Who's most likely to pick up fast food on the way home after a sports game? That'd be Penn. Okay. Penn, what's your go-to fast food, my guy?
If I had to pick one, it's going to be Smithfield Chicken and Barbecue, which is not found anywhere but in North Carolina. But it's North Carolina vinegar fast food barbecue, and they put coleslaw on it, and it's ridiculous.
Going for the local favorite. Kim, what's your favorite fast food?
I'm such a basic girl. I would like Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, yeah.
It's very basic.
Kids love it too.
Yeah. Have you ventured out to other chicken sandwiches? I will say the Wendy's chicken sandwich and Popeye's chicken sandwich could trump the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
There's a new one that's open. It's not new for our country, but it's new for our area. What is it? Cane's or something?
Raising Cane.
Yeah, Lola went this weekend and she really enjoyed it. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to venture out. Okay.
Yeah. Try it out. Who's your son most like?
Penn.
And your daughter?
Kim.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say my son is incredibly empathetic to a fault, which is me. So he has both of our neuroses. So
lucky him. That's nice. Yeah. Cool. All right. And most likely to give unsolicited advice to the kids.
Yeah, that would be me, even if it's wrong or if I made it up right there on the spot, that would be me.
Good. Are you kind of do you mansplain, Penn? Are you a mansplainer?
I'm trying to do less of it, which means that I do. So I like, it's so great to say.
It's not about you, Penn.
This,
I'm like, this is not about you. I know you used to do this, but that was in 1995. This is different.
Oh, see, that wasn't really what he was asking. You seem to have gone down
the advice thing. The advice, I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
So it's fine. No, it's not fine.
Yeah.
So we've touched a nerve there.
I love watching this relationship dynamic at play. It's very clear to see why you guys are about to be celebrating your 20-year anniversary after that fateful first kiss. Just a kiss on the stairs, on the mouth, on the stairs. And then Penn slept on the Davenport. Yep.
A Davenport. There's some
the divan.
What's a Davenport? Is that a couch?
Yeah. Oh, it's a Midwest couch.
It's okay. Got it.
Yeah. And Kim, lastly, I want to say I used to do the red carpet reporting too. Yeah, this is how I did it. Hey, how's it going? What are you wearing? Keep in mind, I don't give a shit, And then I just had these standard questions. I had terrible facial recognition, so I could be talking to someone. I'd have no idea who I was talking to. Were you better at it than me?
I was very, even though I was participating in it, I had problems with it because you can see the actors are all there. And I hated asking the "what are you wearing" thing because we weren't asking it to men. We were only asking it to women. And like for men, and there was like you were burning a question to ask about a dress. And you only had on a red carpet, you have like 3 questions, 2 or 3 tops.
If you're a good news organization.
But I mean, in addition, I don't know. But they are being there because they're being paid to be there. I'm being there because I'm paid to be there. It was like the whole process was really like, I was so annoyed with the whole process. I hated it. I was not good at it.
That could be a whole podcast, you guys talking about this, because Kim has some pretty great stories and they're all like PG-13, but just about like where they sent you. Like where you thought you were going to go and where you ended up. Like, wasn't there a time you thought you were going to be at Tiger Woods' wedding and then you were in West Virginia?
No, I couldn't find my passport because we had just moved and all the boxes were there. So I didn't go. But the girl who went in my place thought she was going to the wedding. She thought she was attending the wedding. So she was in a cocktail dress, but really she was hiding in the bushes trying to get pictures of them because they got married on an island, like on a beach somewhere. This is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And she was hiding in a cocktail dress overnight in the bushes trying to get video of Tiger Woods and his wife. And she thought she was like going to be a guest. And so it was very funny.
Did you have any weird interactions with celebrities on the red carpet, or what's the weirdest reaction you got?
I would say after I met Tom Cruise, I get his gravitational pull. I get the intensity. Like he is so, people who work with him or know him are like, yeah, Tom Cruise. He is so intense, but in the way that it's sort of like, yeah, I get it. Like why he's so good. It's like, it was a very unique energy. I forgot how to talk when interviewing George Clooney.
Yeah.
He is so charming that they couldn't even use the interview because I was twirling my hair.
And you said so I went to, I'll go visit her at work sometimes. And I know the producers, and this was it Colin, who was the guy who did it?
I don't know.
Colin was like, you got to come here and see Kim's interview with George Clooney. And it was that she was twirling her hair.
And I was
still doing it.
She'd be like, so like, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
and be like, I don't know, what are you doing here? She's like, she like touches her stuff like this.
I was pregnant at the time. And I was like, so like,
you were so like, I don't blame you. But.
Do you like being like in front? Because he had directed a movie too. I was like, so do you like being like in front of the camera, or do you like I don't know, like being behind the camera? Oh, see, it made George Clooney just broke his microphone from afar.
How did that?
But he was so charming. And not like, I think if you just saw him working, if he was working, if he was a contractor in your house, you would still find him so
like in One Day at a Time.
Right. But just,
I think that's literally what he was.
But not like, if you look at him, maybe not the most traditionally like put together, like handsome.
What?
But so charming.
What is handsome? If that's not handsome, what is handsome to you?
I guess he is pretty traditionally handsome. But I don't know, like he's just put together well. And I lost the ability to talk. So
well, that's fun. Do you still have that interview? Is that online? Can we all look that up?
There is an interview on, I have it on a tape somewhere, like, so, because it was so funny that I got a copy of it. So,
well, I feel like you should maybe put that out on socials just to show where you came from someday, you know?
Do you have any funny stories? I know you have to go, but do you have any funny stories?
Oh, I've got, I mean, there's some interesting stuff. Like one time I interviewed Chevy Chase, except I was all the way at the end of the thing, and Chevy Chase came up, I think, to talk with the gal next to me, because I think she was attractive. And keep in mind, I was toward the end with all the uncredited, not good news organization. So I tried to sneak a question in afterwards.
As you should.
Yeah, and it was admittedly not a great question, you know? And he just let me have it. He was just like, oh, that's really creative. I've never heard that before. And I was like, okay, fuck you too. I'll see you later, you know?
I have to say, that is not my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't love that because, I mean, it's so hard to be on. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the most creative question, but to be on, you're behind a metal barrier.
Right.
And you're being treated like a third-class citizen and you're being treated poorly. And then for him to respond like that although Christmas Vacation is my favorite movie of all time, it makes me like him a lot less. And I'm sorry that happened to you.
It's okay. I don't care. I still think he's a funny actor. I just think he's also a jackass. But there are a lot of stories out there about that. And you know what? Yeah. That could just be his thing. You know, like when you go to you go to some bar or whatever, and their whole thing is they just like give you crap, like a Dick's or something, or a Ed DeBevick's, you know, where they like the staff is rude to you. I think that's just kind of his thing.
His thing. But whereas if you'd asked that question, whatever it was, to Tina Fey or Amy Poehler or Maya Rudolph, those women they would have turned it around and made it something really funny. Yeah. And they would have been really generous with it. So, boo Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Maybe he'll figure it out. But there were a lot of good people like that. Like Will Ferrell. I mean, that guy, you could ask anything to, and he would just like riff on it. And Amy Poehler as well. I mean, I interviewed all those guys for some movie at one point. But
I would have died to interview them. I love them.
Yeah, it's always a real quick question. They don't remember it. I guarantee you that. But I do. So
now look at you. Now they would be in line to interview you.
I highly doubt that, but I really do appreciate that confidence in me, Kim. It's unwarranted, and I very much appreciate it.
I got you. You're a superstar.
Chevy's looking to get back into the business, so he may show up at some VidCons.
We'll see. Maybe he'll remember it.
I like it. I
know. You guys, thank you so much for coming on, especially short notice. It's so great to catch up. And when can people buy the book?
Oh, we have to talk about the game too, real quick, Ray and Marie. So we have a game. It's called What the Flock. It's a card game, and it's available for pre-order now. We'll ship at the end of January.
It's a fun game.
Go to holdernessfamily.com.
Yeah. Tell first of all, just give us the byline on What the Flock. What kind of game?
It's a game of words and birds through different word games. You have to assemble through cards and strategy your own little bird.
And the birds are kind of funny looking.
Yeah, the bird's kind of funny looking. So you win a series of word games and use some strategy and you win the game. It's really funny. And it's a card game.
But it's meant for, it's a little more adult than our last game. So not super adult, but it's like ages 10 and up, probably. Yeah.
Now, don't say adult because they're going to think it's like Cards Against Humanity.
I said more adult.
No, more mature. I don't know.
10 and up. Super G-rated. Totally G-rated.
Very G-rated.
But it's a little more cerebral.
Yes.
Got it.
And then book, I think pre-order February-ish?
Yes, pre-order is in February, and the book comes out toward the end of April.
Around our anniversary, Charlie.
Yes.
Oh, happy 20th. That's awesome. You guys, for your 20th anniversary, maybe you should, have a nice romantic date on the stairs in your house.
We should. I mean, that is so adorable. And our 20th anniversary is next year. And that's okay. Like,
it's next year.
Please be nice. Be nice to her, Charlie. She's
That's what she said.
She
right.
did. She said next year. She said next year.
Oh, she said next year. I said this year.
You were the one. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Whatever. See, you know what? That's why
I think she does need a raise.
And that's the end of this interview, ladies and gentlemen.
It was nice talking to you.
It was nice talking to you too. What's going on? When I'm doing my show in 2 months, you're not going to be there? Is that?
I'll be there.
Yeah, she'll be there.
You're going skiing.
That's 1 month. Yeah, it's my yearly trip to Telluride.
Oh
so.
yeah.
Every
no,
year.
that's fine.
He does it. He goes every other year.
I should have called you first to check the date.
No, Anne-Marie is so excited.
I know.
She's really
Anne-Marie's opening.
She's really excited.
I'm going to heckle her just because I feel like it's good experience.
And is she doing 2 shows with you? Is that right? She's doing Durham and she's doing Raleigh?
Or South Carolina.
Charleston. We're going to Charleston.
We're doing Charleston. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, Charleston and then up by you guys. So it'll be a fun time. Well, the next time I go around, Penn, you'll have to do some time. And by the way, Kim, if you want to do a hot 5 or something.
Well, hot 5, babe? Hot 5?
You know what?
Hot 5 February hot 5?
I am best in as a backup dancer. So
okay.
I appreciate that. And I got you. I'll be there to heckle.
Okay. That was a very firm no. Okay. I like that.
We have gifts, and stand-up comedy is not one that I need to explore. But
You'd be great at it, actually. I think
I would be great at it. I'm kidding. No, but I love that you guys do that. So, I think it's so cool.
It'll be fun to see you there, and we'll have to get dinner on Penn since he's not going to be there. I think he's buying all of us dinner. He is buying all of us dinner. All right. Well, that'll be fun. And Penn, don't pull an ass muscle while you're skiing, guy. All right.
Thank you. Is that a common muscle that you pull while skiing? An ass muscle?
I mean, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm nervous about my ass. I guess I got to kind of work. I'm going to work my ass out for the next.
Start stretching it.
Yeah.
Start stretching.
He's got a nice butt. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I saw it when we were in person.
Nice.
I took notes. He also has good pants that hug it. And I'm not saying he has nice pants, not a nice ass. That's not what I'm saying.
No, but he wears the pants, like he wears them well.
Well, you can thank Kim for that because she buys all my pants.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I make sure the money maker's out there.
All right. That's what we like to hear. Thank you guys so much. And watch for deer. All right.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right. See you guys soon. Thank you.
Bye, Charlie.
Bye. And that is it for this week's episode of the Cripescast. Make sure you follow the Holderness family on all their platforms. It's very simple. It's at Holderness family.
At the Holderness family.
At the Holderness family. And huge thanks to Kim and Penn for coming on and just chit-chatting. It was a lot of fun with those guys, and we'll hope to have them on again soon. Kelly Maraca, thank you for producing this podcast. Hannah Milos, thank you for editing it. And big thanks to all of you for listening, and hope to see you soon sometime, somewhere. Until then, keep her moving, watch for deer, and do tell your folks I says hi. Also, go Packers. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby. I can't believe I got this far in the episode without mentioning it, but go Pack, go. Bye-bye.
So roll out the barrel and get the band brewing. Life's got you down. Just keep her moving. It's on Wisconsin. The Badgers say it's the old Wisconsin Jubilee.
You know, sometimes when you're ice fishing, you put your foot in the walleye hole and go ass over tea kettle and you think you're done. No, you got to keep her moving.